If God calls us to be holy, what's our problem? What breaks the connection with God that brings holiness? The answer is found in a foundational classic passage on the holiness of God, Isaiah 6. Isaiah sees the Lord in His glory, the brilliant, overwhelming beauty of His holiness. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord, high and exalted, seated on a throne, and the train of His robe filled the temple. And the seraphim were calling to one another, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty. The whole earth is full of His glory. At the sound of their voices, the doorposts and the threshold shook, and the temple was filled with smoke. Woe to me, I cried. I am ruined, for I am a man of unclean lips, and I live among a people of unclean lips, and my eyes have seen the King, the Lord Almighty. What Isaiah felt in that moment is the fact that he wasn't like what he saw. He was separated from what he saw. He realized that what was separating him from God was not his income, his ethnicity, his background, his lack of knowledge. It was the sinfulness of his heart, exemplified in this passage by his lips. Now here's the thing. Isaiah was already a prophet by the time he tells us this. He had been prophesying in Isaiah 1 through 5, saying, woe to this people, or woe to that wicked nation. But when he gets into the presence of God, he calls out, woe to me. There's an old story of a young child who was riding with his father through the country in the summertime, and he looked out and saw sheep in a green pasture, and he said, oh, wow, Dad, look at those white sheep in that green grass. A few months later, he drove through the same place, the same part of the road, after a blanket of snow had fallen, and he said, oh, Dad, look at those dirty sheep against that white snow. Now, the sheep hadn't changed, had they? Only what he was comparing them to. And Isaiah is having a moment like this. He hadn't changed, but now he was seeing himself in the light of God's holiness, not the nation's wickedness. And he felt the separation, the overwhelming reality of unworthiness. Now, the reason for this is not that God's holiness was negative. It's that it's so good, so desirable, that nothing else can compare to the joy and delight of being connected to it. It's as if you were a starving man at a feast, locked behind a gate, kept from that which is most desirable to you. So the second element of holiness is this. Holiness requires ongoing moral excellence in heart and action.